Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the course leader for the MA in Music here at Oxford Brookes, and I'm an opera historian and also what I would call a cultural historian. So that means I'm not just interested in looking at opera from the purely analytical point of view. What really interests me is thinking about opera in society. So the social, political, cultural features that shaped those operas in the first place, and also thinking about the ways in which we receive opera today. So there are several strands to my research. I have a great interest in the works of Puccini, and I've written a book about how his works were seen during his own lifetime and the way in which they got caught up in all kinds of controversies. So about what Italian opera ought to be, whether his works were too modern, not modern enough, whether they were really Italian or whether they were too international, and thinking about how they got caught up with all kinds of political debates and debates about national identity, gender and so on. At the moment though, I'm working on something quite different. I'm writing a book about debates about opera in Britain in the 1920s, and particularly thinking about where opera fitted into a very controversial debate that was taking place at that time about what was highbrow culture and what was middlebrow culture. And opera's really interesting because it doesn't fit in a straightforward way into those cultural categories. I'm also really interested in thinking about our relationship with opera today. So I've done some work on opera in film, specifically in period film. And last year we organised a conference here about operatic stereotypes, so thinking about the way opera is often dismissed as elitist and questioning that idea, and thinking about how opera can be presented to a potential public in more interesting ways. I teach courses on opera at a variety of different levels at the university, but on the MA specifically, I teach a module called Approaches to Opera, where we think about the various critical approaches that have been taken to opera over the last 20 years or so. So thinking about the factors that shape operas, but also how operas are staged, how operas relate to issues of politics, gender, national identity, and so on. So I also do quite a lot of work outside the university, taking opera to a wider public and trying to enthuse people about opera. So I do quite a bit of presenting work for BBC Radio 3. I also write programme essays and do pre-performance talks for many of the country's leading opera companies. And one thing that I do on the MA actually is to train our students in how they can also take their research out to a wider public. So a student coming on our MA and wanting to work on opera has a choice to combine it with one of two things. So you can either look at opera within the context of looking at 19th century music more broadly, or you can combine the study of opera with the study of film music, which might sound quite quirky, but actually there's a great deal in common between the way in which music is used in opera on the stage and the way it's used in film. It's been a real delight teaching on this MA course because the students are so enthusiastic. So we have a real mixture of people. There are some retired people who've been opera enthusiasts for years. There are some people straight out of a degree course just getting to know about opera. We've even had professional opera singers on the course, and all these people bring really different, rich perspectives to our discussions.